Good morning, artists. This is Beth Cooper. Thank you so much for spending a little bit of your day drawing with me. I hope you're enjoying this week. It's been an interesting week for me because it's been a learning process. I've learned lots of things this week. First of all, I've learned that I need to keep my hand out of the way when I am drawing because you don't want to be looking at my hand instead of looking at the drawing that I'm doing. So I'm working on that. Hopefully in the next week I'll be able to fix that a little bit better. Secondly, I need to check my iPad to make sure it has enough space because when it runs out of space, it stops recording. So this inking that I'm going to be doing on this lesson, I did already, but the iPad stopped. So you'll notice that there are a few changes to the drawing, to the pencil drawing, and that were made before I started inking, and that's why it's not exactly the same as the one that I started with. Thirdly, I've decided that maybe Instagram and Facebook may not be the best platforms for longer videos like this. So I have a YouTube channel and I'm hoping that you will join me on YouTube. If you get to it from a computer, of course it's youtube.com, and my side gig is doing portraits of people and pets, and so the name of my YouTube channel is Beth Cooper Portraits, all one word, and I'll show that to you. I wanted to keep these lessons to about 10 to 12 minutes because I know attention spans get short if it goes too much longer than that. So I've had to divide this Friday lesson into 3 sections. The first 2 are the drawing elements, and then this one is going to be inking. So if you followed me, maybe you'll follow me a little bit further and find me on youtube.com. Beth Cooper Portraits. That's all one word. And if you want to go and look at some of the portraits that I've done, my website is bethcooperportraits.com. So we are going to start today with inking. So hopefully you have everything drawn now. If you haven't, go back to the lessons that we've already done and take a look and make sure that you have everything on here. When I took a look at the original pencil drawing that I did, I noticed that my kite was just a little bit too big, and so I added I erased it or redrew this and put a smaller one in here, and I'm going to work really hard to keep my hand out of the way on this one. So I am left-handed. I'm going to start from the right side and work my way over to the left because I don't like to smear my ink. Left-handers are notorious for smearing ink. If you're right-handed, you can start on the other side and work your way the other direction. This one really is just finalizing what we've already done with our pencil. So I'm going to start over here with the clouds in the upper right-hand corner, and then I'm going to work my way down towards the bottom left-hand corner. And remember, if your ink line doesn't line up with your pencil line, that's okay, because we're going to go back and erase those here in a little while. Hopefully I found an eraser that's not going to smear things too much. I think this is the fun part because it actually shows the final piece the way that you want it to be. You may have changed things around a little bit. That's okay. If you didn't like the way I did them and you decided that you wanted to do something different, and there's my hand again. I actually noticed that if you follow this line all the way down, you can just make it in one straight line, all the way down from the point of your kite, like this. And then do my crossbars. I love the beach, so I've enjoyed doing this lesson with you. The next few weeks we're going to be working on other things that remind me of spring break, vacations that I used to do as a child, kind of reminiscent of things that I think that my brothers might do because they live in different parts of the country. Even though I am a beach lover, I have brothers that live in the mountains and they love to go camping, so that's going to be the next one that we're going to do. And I had a brother that lived in the desert for a while, so we're going to do one on hiking in the desert. And Easter is in there, so I'm actually going to pause that theme and I'm going to do a little bit of an Easter drawing, something that has to do with spring and renewal and all the kinds of cuteness that you want. Make sure you take your time because, of course, when you're drawing in ink, we can't erase this one. So you want to make sure it looks as good as possible. Notice when I'm drawing my lines, I'm picking up my pen now, so that I don't draw through the objects that are supposed to be in front of those things that are supposed to be in the background. So we have line segments now instead of full lines. And especially on these things like the crab, I want to draw the things that are in the foreground, the things that are on top, before I draw the things in the background, so I don't draw a line through those areas like his claws, like we did when we were practicing in pencil. And remember, you can always add detail to your things while you're working in pen. This one I like to add some pretty patterns to my shells. This should be the easy and the fun part of your drawing, because now it's just a matter of going over all of your lines or improving on the lines that you've created to create your final page. Now, if you still have on your shovel your squared off corners here, please make sure when you're drawing it that you round those corners. I think it makes it more pleasing to look at, and if we were actually using it, it would make it easier to use. And rounding off the scoop for the shovel, like that. Remember, with our starfish, we want to have spines going through the middle of the starfish from point to point. And you can add a few spines in there too if you'd like to. And then our seagull down at the bottom. I'm going to scoot this up just a little bit just to make sure that you can see what I've done with the seagull. Now remember, we had an oval going all the way around the body here, but instead of doing that, I attached the triangles for his legs, so he kind of looks like one complete body. My ink is getting a little bit low on this pen. And then add some feathers. Same thing with his tail. You can add some feathers down here. Make sure you go back and add the detail for his face. And then his little knobby knees and the webbing on the feet. All right, there we have it. Now, this part has been the bane of my existence for the entire week. I found a different eraser. I'm going to try this one instead and make sure that it doesn't smear. I hope that it doesn't smear. So I'm going to go back up to the top where I started, and I'm going to erase my lines. Could just be that this ink pen takes longer to dry than what I'm hoping for. Let's see, how is that doing? That's a little bit better. Still a little smeary. Next week I'll try a different ink pen and see if that works better on this paper. So once you have your ink done, then you can decide how you want to proceed. You can color it in if you want to. And as we talked about, we might be doing a value lesson. That means that we would be adding shading to it so that we could see our light sources coming from the upper right-hand corner here on our sun. So all of our shadows would be following to the opposite sides of our objects. And if you'd like to learn how to do that, drop me a line, send me a message, and let me know that you want to do that. Otherwise, we're going to consider this one finished, and I'm going to move on next week to camping. I hope you enjoyed this. I've had a lot of fun. Like I said, it's been a learning experience for me. Hopefully next week we'll do even better on these. Enjoy your day. Happy art making.